What is going on? Welcome to another Truth Talk with Michael. My name is Michael Krug. I'm a health and fitness coach, coachkrug.com. That's where you can find me on the interweb. So today, first and foremost, I actually just recorded this entire video. However, I did not realize, because typically when I record these videos, I have my notes on my home desktop, and then I use my laptop to record. I didn't realize that if I shifted away from this video thing on iMovie, that the video freezes. So I'm redoing this because I could have just done the audio, but I do want to incorporate a little bit of the visual element for at least a part of it. So I'm committed. I'm committed to putting forth good content. Also, too, it's August 2022 when this video releases. Just want to let you know, if you are checking this video out, I am open for enrollment for my 12-week Inspired Men's Wellbeing Program, helping busy professional men build strength and lose weight while increasing energy and confidence. So if you have any interest in that, just hit me up, let me know, shoot me a comment, email me, send me a carrier pigeon, whatever it may be. I'd love to connect. So, all right, today, this video, we are talking about sugar because one of my clients actually has been having some difficulties or just over consuming sugar more than he would like to. So this is mostly for him as well as for you, because I know sugar is a huge topic in today's nutrition society. You got a lot of people out there just demonizing sugar, thinking that it's the worst thing ever. If you eat any sugar, you're going to be unhealthy, and it's just the worst thing ever. And I'm here to tell you that that's just a bunch of bullshit. That's not true. And I'm going to teach you 5 strategies to help you consume sugar in a way where it's not going to deter from your health, can actually help enhance your health. But it does come down to intention and mindfulness. So before we get into it, though, we got to talk about first and foremost, like what sugar it is. But even before that, quick experiment. So if you have a piece of paper and a pen, go ahead and write down your 10 favorite foods. Okay. So for example, mine are lobster, scallops, ice cream, peanut butter, chocolate, bananas, steak, watermelon, chicken thighs, and mochi. And if you ever had mochi, it's like ice cream with this little like rice kind of like delicious. It's like a rice like covering, I guess. I don't know what to call it, but it's so good. Just try mochi. Go pick some up. Anyway, there's ice cream in the middle. There's sugar in it. And if you listen to my list, right, 5 of those items have sugar, right? Ice cream, chocolate, bananas, watermelon, and mochi. Okay. So I can guarantee that if you made a list, at least one of those foods is going to be, you know, have sugar or even be higher in sugar. So the reason I go through this is because I eat all those foods. I don't have lobster and scallops every day, but I eat all those foods on a regular basis, and I'm able to maintain my health and well-being. You can do the same, right? No matter where you're at, you can always fit sugar into your life in a way where it's not going to just completely deter your health. And you can still have a lot of good energy and confidence while doing so. So, with that, there are some things about sugar that are not ideal. We're going to get into that. And I think a great place to start is with what sugar is and how it works. So sugar, it's really just a carbohydrate, right? So it's molecules of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen that are connected in all sorts of different ways. And it comes in different forms. So there's really 2 main forms of carbohydrates. There's simple carbs, which is what all sugars are simple carbs. That means that the amount of connections within those molecules, there's not very many. So it's broken down quickly by the body and utilized quickly for energy, okay? Then there's complex carbs, which have a lot more connections. Again, it's tougher for your body to break down. Not tougher, but it just takes a longer amount of time. And really, at the end of the day, all carbohydrates break down to sugar. They break down to glucose. And that is what our muscles and our body loves to use as a primary source of energy, okay? So carbohydrates, simple or complex, broken down to glucose. Glucose is then converted into glycogen, stored in our muscles as potential energy, and then we got to use that energy. That's the issue with sugar, right? A little bit deeper on sugar, so there's glucose is the most common one. That's the one that our body loves to use. There are 3 other more common types: fructose, which is mostly from fruit. There's sucrose, which is mostly from table sugar, and then lactose, which is primarily, well, all of it is from dairy. There's also maltose. A lot of alcohols come from maltose, like malt and barley, but that's not nearly as common when it comes to the standard American diet. So really, like we mentioned, at the end of the metabolization process of any carbohydrate, you're going to end up with glucose. We're back. Okay. End up with glucose, which is going to be, again, converted into glycogen and stored in the muscles. Now, here's the problem is that we eat a lot of sugar. I couldn't find a straight like number. It's really hard to gauge, but anywhere from like 30 to 70 grams of sugar or added sugars per day in the standard American diet, which is a lot. And the problem is that if we're eating a lot of sugar, but we're not moving as much before, especially before and after having sugar, then our body is going to simply be like, hey, we got all this energy. Energy is great. Body loves energy. At the end of the day, our body is hardwired to conserve energy to survive. So it's a smart adaptation, or it's intelligent for the body to take excess sugar, energy that's not used, and store it as body fat, because then we can come back to it later. So the problem is a lot of this sugar ends up being stored as excess adipose tissue and body fat, which is linked to every chronic disease, heart attack, stroke, risk of mortality goes up, heart disease, right, coronary artery disease. So having this excess body fat and adipose tissue, especially when it's not the healthy kind, which I'll make a different video about different types of body fat down the road, it's deterring our health, right? The other thing with sugar too is that excess sugar is linked to metabolic syndrome as well as insulin resistance. And those two things specifically are linked to type 2 diabetes. So again, it's systems, right? It's different places up the river per se where the end effect is happening. And one of those entry points in the river is too much sugar consumption, right? So again, a lot of negative press on sugar. A lot of people out there in my realm of work who do what I do, who demonize sugar and say you should never eat sugar. I think that's bullshit, but you do have to be strategic about it. You can't just expect to eat sugar all day, every day, and maintain your health unless you're running like, I don't know, 20 miles a day, which I don't know a lot of people who are doing that every single day. Some people are, but not me. Uh, anyway, let's go over now the 5 different ways. So 5 strategies, different ways that you can be strategic with the quantity, the quality, and the timing of sugar, making sure that it's spot on and that you're having sugar enhance your health rather than deterring from your health, because that's the ultimate goal, right? So number 1, probably the biggest one, is the timing of eating sugar. And the best time to eat sugar is directly after resistance training or exercise, okay? Directly after. Now you might hear that and be like, oh, shouldn't we have it before? Like, it's energy, we want energy before. Yeah, having some before is okay. And the thing with sugar is that it's water soluble, both outside and inside the body. So our body needs water to start the breakdown process of sugar. So if you have a bunch of sugar before a workout, you're going to naturally be more dehydrated, which can hinder performance. That, or you're going to need to drink a lot more water, which can make you feel weighed down, like you can't perform as well in your workout. But having sugar after is awesome because, like we talked about with glycogen and glucose, when we're working out, our muscles are using up all of that glycogen. When those glycogen stores are low, we want to repair that as quickly as possible. That's going to help with our muscles recovering. That's going to help with us being able to feel better and less sore. So having sugar right after a workout is actually not terrible. Pair that with some protein. That's probably the best time to have it. There are some people who eat sugar, intra workout with the BCAAs. Jury's kind of out on that one. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I wouldn't say not sure, but there's not a ton of evidence, compelling evidence, unless you're doing like, these super long like Ironman or marathon stuff like that. Yeah, it's probably really important. But if you're just doing like 30 to 40-minute workouts, I don't think having sugar in the middle of the workout is going to make that big of a difference. Wait until after though, right? And then also drink a lot of water. So having sugar after a workout with some protein, ideally sugar forms that have fiber, which we'll get to. I think that's actually our next point. But as well as water is going to be the best time to have it. Okay. So number 2, the type of sugar. Really, if we can, we want to focus on natural sugars rather than added sugars. And not because like natural sugar versus added sugar, not that it's that much different, not that, natural sugar has like more micronutrients. There's slight evidence that there's a little bit more micronutrients in natural sugar, but the real benefit is that if you are having more natural sources of sugar, you're really omitting more of those toxins and the chemicals and other additives that are put into foods that deter our health quite a bit, right? So, for example, this is why I wanted to make sure that we had a video here. I've got Spindrift, which is delicious. If you've never had a Spindrift, I highly recommend. You can get them at Costco, Target, and probably anywhere else. Um, so I want you to look at the nutrition facts here on the back. See, there we go. Okay. So you see it says total sugars right about there is 3 and 0 grams of added sugar, right? So that's because in this can, it's literally just made with grapefruit juice, which is delicious. So um, there also, the ingredients in here are carbonated water, grapefruit juice, orange juice, lemon juice, and hibiscus for color. So pretty legit on an ingredients front. My video cut out again. I really want to bring this forth though, so we're gonna keep going. So we left off. We didn't really leave off because I'm splicing this all together, and there was no pause or stop. But this here, the Spindrift, is pretty legit on an ingredients front. And the thing is that when it comes to food items that have added sugars, a lot of times they're going to have things like red 40, they're going to have yellow 5, different food dyes. They might have sodium nitrite and nitrate, right? Like beef jerky has a lot of added sugars, and it has different preservatives that have been shown to cause cancer. It might have high fructose corn syrup. You get the picture. A lot of these foods that have added sugars also have a lot of other added junk that's not good for us. So focusing on natural sugars is usually going to be the best. Not to mention too, when we're eating, fiber foods like that have fruits, foods that have natural sugars, a lot of times they're higher in fiber. So some examples, right? So basically all fruit, pineapple, bananas, apples. Those are good sources of sugar, as well as berries, any fruit, right? I personally love dried figs and dried dates. Those are fantastic as well. There are some fruit bars out there that are really good too from a nutrition standpoint, from a ingredient standpoint, that don't have a bunch of added sugars as well. So point number 2, focus on natural sugars if you can, and the fiber that comes with them. So point 3 is to just decrease or be mindful of your lactose intake. So there's some evidence out there to show that humans stop producing the enzymes to break down lactose after breastfeeding age, so like after the age of 2. And there's also evidence to show that certain cultures have more enzymes than others based upon where they're located and what they have access to, and epigenetics, right? So recognizing that not everyone was built to break down lactose, what is your experience with? Ask yourself this: what is my experience with taking a break from dairy and from lactose in particular, right? Have I ever strategically or mindfully taken a break to see how my body would react with less lactose? Because, if you think about it, if we have this molecule, this lactose molecule coming into our body, we don't have enzymes for it. Our body is going to be like, whoa, like, what do I do with this? I don't know how to handle this. I'm going to have to just save it for later and try and figure out. That's going to slow you down. It's going to drag your energy down. And it's ultimately going to mess with your potential digestion. It's not going to be an ideal situation. So if you never have, maybe keep a food journal. If you're interested, usually I only do this for clients, but I do have a food journaling template that you can follow. Feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in getting that free template. And then, just, try it for 3 days. 3 to 7 days is a great time frame to limit your dairy consumption, or at least be more mindful of it and decrease a little bit. See how your body reacts. You might find that there's no change. You might find that all of your digestive system symptoms are gone, right? And then it's your choice after that if you want to continue to eat dairy or not. It always comes back to choice, right? So if you never know, or if you never try, you'll never know. So again, point 3 is to recognize lactose consumption, potentially decrease or eliminate that for a set amount of time. Point 4 is to avoid sugar before bed. So really, any food before bed can be not ideal when it comes to sleep, when it comes to digestion, but sugar in particular. And it's a double whammy with sugar. The first point being that sugar is going to give us a lot of energy, which can help us, or not help us. It's going to deter from us falling asleep and make it more challenging to fall asleep. And it can also mess with our sleep. It can make it so that we don't get through the proper sleep cycles and rhythms because our body is trying to focus on the sugar. And then number 2, the second part of the double whammy, is that it's going to be stored as adipose tissue and body fat. So again, from our lesson earlier about what sugar is and how it operates, if we consume a lot of sugar, we don't utilize it right away, our body saves it as body fat for energy for later. So again, if you do have some sugar later in the day, even if you have any food later in the day, I teach all my clients about digestion walks. So just taking the time to go for a quick walk after having, especially a big meal or a meal later in the day, kickstart your metabolism, start digesting that food so that you can still get a good night's sleep that night. So that's point 4, avoid sugar before bed. And number 5, and probably most importantly, is to just enjoy the experience. I mean, honestly, you're a human on planet Earth. You need to enjoy your life, right? If you're constantly telling yourself, I can't have this, I can't do that, I'm not going to do this because it's not healthy, what's the point in even living at that point, right? You got to enjoy your life, right? And two, with that, a lot of foods that are higher in sugar are good for our mental health. It makes us feel good, and we have a big release of dopamine and serotonin when we eat those foods, right? So the best thing you can do is to just eat these foods guilt-free, shame-free. Recognize that maybe it's not going to be an everyday decision for you, but that it's going to happen, and that you should just enjoy the process rather than stressing about it or trying to compensate, right? Like, oh, I had a piece of cake, so now I can't have any sugar for 2 weeks. What's going to happen if you go through these massive energetic lulls, right? You're going to end up binging again later down the road. So just be mindful, be strategic about it. And again, recognize that we eat foods for physical, mental, and emotional health, right? And they're all interconnected. And sugar can fit into our lives in a healthy way as long as we're being strategic about it, right? Oh, and then one more point on this too is like, if you're going to eat the sugar, like get the good stuff, right? Don't, you all know I love my Quick Trip. But if you're gonna eat ice cream, don't get like the like Nature's Touch or whatever it's called, the Quick Trip like base ass like basic brand. Like get like the good stuff. Get Talenti, Ben and Jerry's. If you're in the Twin Cities where I'm at, Milk Jam. I think it's in Lindale and Hennepin. I can't remember one of those roads. It's really really good in Minneapolis. The Grand Old Creamery on Grand Avenue in St. Paul is unbelievable. I live in Evergrove Heights, and there's like Hometown Sweets, which is really solid. So just get the good stuff, right? Like maybe splurge a little bit and get like the really tasty stuff rather than just like eating sugar just to eat it, right? Yeah, that's going to be another just a tip on there as well. And then two, right? It's not an everyday thing, but like if you're celebrating, right, if a wedding, birthday, whatever it is, like just enjoy it and be in the moment and enjoy people's company and have a little sugar with it. It's going to be totally cool. Again, if you're continuing to focus on the basics of good health, which is solid whole food nutrition most of the time, moving your body every day, managing stress and sleeping well, you're going to be just fine. Sugar shouldn't pose a risk to you and your health and well-being. So that's what I got. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Um, Again, if you want that food journaling template, just shoot me a message. I'll get that to you. Also, please, if you can, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, bringing forth more videos as we go forth into the time and space. So I appreciate you. And as always, until next time, keep inspiring. Thank you.